What's up, guys? It's your girl Team Janae, your favorite MUA, and today we are going to be doing a tutorial. If you're new to my channel, what's up, girl? If you're not, what's up, girl? Welcome back. So I went ahead and did her eyebrows off camera, and the first thing I did is I blended out that concealer to create an even base, and I went ahead and primed her eyelids with my P. Louise eyeshadow base in the shade Rumor Zero, which is the white shade. I just buffed that out with a small buffing brush, and then I took my blending brush from the Last Minute Beauty collection, and I went in with the shade Sepia from the Beauty by Melissa New Persuasion palette, and I blended that in the inner corners of her crease. And then I went in with the same brush and the shade Caramel from the same palette, and I blended that towards the outer portions of her crease. Alright, time for the fun part. So I'm taking the P. Louise eyeshadow base in the shade Rumor Zero, the same shade that I used to prime, and I'm taking a paintbrush. This paintbrush is from a paintbrush set off of Amazon. I will try to link it in the description box. But what I like to do is I like to put a nice amount of product on the brush and then kind of place it on the lid before I go straight into the crease, because when you go straight into the crease with a lot of product, it can get a little messy, and then you can have a lot more product than you intended to do. So I just put a little bit on the lid, and then whatever's left, I start my crease process. And so then when you do that, you have a little more control of how much product you're maneuvering across the lid. And so I'm taking my brush right now, and I am just making sure those edges are clean, taking a little bit more product, because the more product you have, the more cleaner it could get. Not too much, like I just said, but enough, because when you don't have enough, then it makes it look smudgy and not as precise and clean as it could look. So a cool trick for getting your brush to be as flat as possible, just in case you don't have a paintbrush, would be to put some duo glue on it and kind of press it out and flatten it out with your fingers, and then boom, you got your perfect cut crease brush. But as you are dragging that concealer or that eyeshadow base across the crease, you just want to create just a little tiny wing, because we're doing a more winged cut crease versus a more just semicircle cut crease, you know what I'm saying? Or even a half cut crease. We're doing a wing cut crease today, long story short. Before you start putting your eyeshadow shade onto the wet base, you want to tap it out with the brush that you use to cut the crease, or you can buff it out with a buffing brush, but make sure everything is seamless and it doesn't have any uneven patches or spots, because your eyeshadow will not come out right, and we don't want that, sis. So right now I am taking the shade, I don't know how to say that, Fabergé. I think that's how you say it. I'm taking the shade Fabergé, and I'm using this flat angled, I don't know what kind of brush it is because it doesn't have a name, but it is from the Last Minute Beauty collection, and her brushes are really good. But I'm taking Fabergé and I'm putting that towards the inner part of the crease, and then I'm taking the shade Blush and with the same brush, and I'm putting that towards the outer portion of the crease, and I'm just making sure those two are seamlessly blended. Okay, so this is what I was talking about by taking that brush and just patting out the eyeshadow base so it don't look crazy. And what I meant to say in the last part was that you're gonna tap it into the inner portion of the lid, not the crease, because we already did that. So we're doing it towards the lid, and then we're doing it towards the outer portion of the lid. So you're probably like, a team, what we gonna do about that white part above the crease like that? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a small flat brush, and we're gonna go back into the shade Fabergé and into the shade Blush, and we're going to gently and carefully tap those shades right where the crease meets the eyeshadow, and the crease meets the eyeshadow on the lid, so that every part of the crease is covered with color. Now I'm taking another brush from the Last Minute Beauty collection. As you can see, these brushes are good because I keep using them. But I'm taking the shimmer pigment in the shade White Gold from Jlarue Cosmetics, and I'm just tapping that all over the lid, just to give the lid a nice little sparkle and to make that pink pop. For the liner, I'm taking my White Suva Beauty liquid liner, and I'm using a disposable eyeliner brush because I can't find my Suva Beauty one. And it makes me real sad, but this one will do. And while you're creating that line, you just want to make sure that the edges are nice and wispy as you are flicking it towards the wing. For my eyeliner, I always use tape because I just do not trust myself to do a nice, crisp, clean cut eyeliner by myself. But I'm taking the NYX white eyeliner, and I'm just simply brushing that across her lash line, flicking towards the outer corner of her eye, and I'm bringing it all the way in towards the inner corner of her eye. I'm just putting a silver glitter on top of her liner. This is the silver glitter in the shade Star Emoji from the Avani Gregg X Morphe palette. And I'm just dragging that right across that white liner we had just did. It truly makes me sad because a lot of these details, like the glitter on the liner and these rhinestones about to put on her eye, can't even be seen. And it kind of makes me sad because I really put my heart and soul into this look. But it's okay because we're going to do it anyway. But I'm taking the Duo Glue lash glue, and I'm just making small dots right towards the front of her crease. Now I'm placing these tiny behind rhinestones, the iridescent rhinestones, right where I placed the glue. I know y'all can barely see it because I can barely see it. But it's there, and it was cute. So we just gonna accept it. Now we're moving to the face, which is the second most important part. We are taking the Morphe E7 angled buffing brush, and I'm buffing in her moisturizer, which is the Pond's moisturizing cream. I moisturize on everyone's face, regardless of skin texture and type. And then I'm going to go in with the Stila Beauty One Step primer, and I'm going to buff that all over her face as well. And I'm also going to make sure it dries down a little bit. So I literally just take my fan and I just dry down her primer. For her nose and her under eye, I'm going to take the Benefit Professional primer, and I'm going to put that all over her nose and under her eye. This is to help with getting oily. Most black people have oil glands on their nose and their forehead and their chin, which is why I'm going on the forehead and the chin as well. And so I just want to prevent her from getting oily throughout the day, although she might not have oily skin. For her foundation shades, I am taking the Maybelline Superstay Foundation in the shades 125 and 310. My client, aka my line sister, is fair, but I didn't want her to be too light, but I also didn't want her to be too yellow, so I had to mix the shades. And this came out really perfect, as you can see. And I'm just painting that all over her face using the Max Lux Studios Precision brush. And like I said, I'm just going all over her face with that. I am buffing her foundation in with the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush. And I'm going in with patting motions, not swiping motions, but patting motions. Because swiping motions tend to create streaks along the face, and you don't want your face to be streaky, right? You want it to be nice and blended to the gods. Now I'm taking my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer in the shade 27S Light Medium Sam, and I'm applying that all under her under eye. I'm going to apply it to her forehead, her chin, and the bridge of her nose. I actually ended up going over it with a lighter concealer shade because, as you can see, it kind of blends in with her foundation shade. So I also went in with 12N Fair Neutral from Tarte Shape Tape as well. So with the same Max Look Studio brush I used for her foundation, I am swiping, I guess you could say, distributing the concealer further out in those areas. Like, I'm expanding the concealer, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And this is just to go ahead and spread out your concealer before you get to blending, so it can pretty much already do your job for you. For her contour, I am taking the Juvia's Place foundation stick in the shade Cameroon, and I am tapping my brush on the foundation stick and then going in circular motions with this e.l.f. buffing brush right up under her cheekbones, and I'm going to do that also on her forehead as well. Today I'm going to be using the Real Techniques setting brush to pat and blend in that concealer right up under her eye. I have been obsessed with using this brush lately because it gets under all those creases, whereas with a beauty sponge it's kind of harder to get in those creases, especially if the client blinks a lot or has a hard time looking up. But that's besides the point. But I'm using this brush just to go ahead and pat all of that concealer in. The reason why I do my contour before I do this is so that the concealer can dry down a little bit for a more full coverage look. Alright y'all, I had to zoom in for this part because this is like one of my favorite parts, snatching that nose. So what I like to do is I like to take my flat brush that I use for my eyebrows and my foundation and spreading the concealer and all that, and I went in with the same contour shade I put on her cheekbones and her forehead. And what I like to do is I like to start at the groove or the bend where the eyebrow meets the nose, and then I kind of try to come down, not in a straight line, but kind of like in a semi-diagonal line, kind of creating a small triangular shape situation. It's really hard to see here, but you can see that I'm trying to create that triangular situation. And then to soften it up, I'm taking this small fluffy blending brush from Morphe. It does not have a name, it came in a pack. And I am blending out that the contour, just to give it a more smooth, soft, blended look. And you're going to see later on, I'm going to go back in with the brush just to continue to blend out that nose contour so it doesn't look so harsh. So right before you set under the eye and all the other areas you put the concealer in, you want to buff out that area again with the same brush that you buffed it out with before. And now I'm taking this, I forgot what kind of brush this is, the numbers then came off, but it is a Morphe brush. And I'm taking the setting powder by AC Cosmetics in the shade No Shine, and I am patting that right under her eye and all the other areas where I put concealer at, and I'm also going to set the rest of her face as well. So like I'm saying, I'm going back in and I'm buffing out that nose contour some more just to soften it up. And then I'm taking my Morphe M218 brush. This is like one of my favorite brushes, and I'm kind of baking or whatever with the Morphe translucent powder. And what I'm doing is I'm taking the edge of my brush and I'm what's the word I'm looking for? I'm making it so that the nose contour pops more, just kind of creating a really diffused line right where the edge of that nose contour is, just so that it doesn't look too manly or too sharp. You know, I kind of want like a soft nose contour versus a really sharp nose contour. And I'm just putting that powder on her chin and on her forehead as well, because I really wanted it to lighten up a little bit. And then I'm going to take my Morphe M432 brush, and I'm taking the same translucent powder and I'm bringing that down the bridge of the nose where we had contoured earlier. To set her contour, I'm going to be using the black Radiance Contour palette in the shade light to medium. I'm taking just a little bit of that with this fluffy brush, and I'm just setting all the areas that we beautifully contour earlier. And then I'm taking a quote-unquote profusion foundation brush, and I am tapping in the blush from the Juvia's Place Blush Duo palette in volume 2, and I'm just lightly dusting that all over her cheekbones, and I'm going to use the remainder to dust over her forehead just a little bit as well. To highlight her cheekbones, the tip of her nose, her cupid's bow, and a little bit of her forehead and chin, I am using the Jlarue Cosmetics shimmer pigment in the shade White Diamonds, which is actually the same shade I used on her lid. I said white gold, but it's White Diamonds. And I'm taking the same Morphe M218 brush, dusting away all that powder. And then next, I'm taking this white eyeliner and I'm just lining her waterline just to make her eyes pop, because she has really beautiful light brown eyes. And then after I do that, I'm placing her lashes right on her waterline. You want to place it a little bit above because she does have lash extensions and we don't want to ruin the lash extensions. And you make sure you press down their lash extensions while you're doing this so you don't get anything on them, no glue or none of that, right? And then I'm just taking this white shade from the Nude Persuasion palette and I'm tapping that into her inner corners to brighten up that eye once again. Now I'm cleaning off her lips, cleaning off all that foundation and concealer that we just did, because it's something about foundation on the lips that's just ugly, and it also takes away from the lip look. So you do want to make sure you clean that off with some makeup remover. Now I'm taking my what's that thing called? Mascara. This is from Ulta Beauty. I don't know which one it is, but it's the one in the lavender bottle. I love this mascara. And now I'm lining her lips with my favorite lip liner from LA Girl, and it is in the shade Lasting Brown, and I'm just lining up her lips. And we almost done, y'all. We is almost done. For her lip shade, I am going to be using the Ruby Kisses Liquid Matte Lipstick in the shade Honey Bunny. This is like my go-to, and I'm just applying that to the center of her lips with a paintbrush. And when you do this, you want to be sure to blend in the shade with the liner, because you don't want the liner to be too harsh. Now now I'm just going to be topping off those lips with a clear lip gloss. This is from the beauty supply store and my favorite scent, which is mango. That's why all my clients love it. They be like, oh my god, girl, this smells so good. And I'll be like, I know, right? That's why I got it, honey. And then I'm going in with another lip gloss. This is a pink lip gloss from LA Colors in the shade Baby Cakes, and I just like to use that on top of the lip gloss that I just did, just to like brighten up that lip a little more. Now I'm taking my secret ingredient. I don't know if y'all ready for the secret ingredient. I'm not gonna tell y'all until y'all let me know in the comments if you want to know what the secret ingredient is. But I sprayed that on her face, and then I tapped that in actually with the same foundation brush I use for her face, and I'm taking my Morphe spray and I'm tapping that in along with fanning her face as well. And honey, we is done. Okay, we are done. Look how beautiful she is. Ooh, look at my line sister. Who told her to be? Let that hair down. Let that hair down, boo. Looking good as always. That's my back. The sexy 6. But y'all, look at how this look came out. It looks so beautiful in low light. You can see all the sparkles and all the shine. Yes. But if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please share it and comment down below what other looks you want to see. I love y'all so much, and I will see y'all in the next video. Peace.
I'm in a talking, no Instagram, I'm watching TV. I think I trade my breakfast, lunch, and dinner for some kitty. Please believe me, I see Riri, I'ma eat it like panini. I go dumb up in the bar, hit the walls like graffiti. Indian birds all up on a nigga wee-wee.